Hello, everybody. So, I just want to say really quickly, I'm so sorry. It is storming like crazy outside. It's thundering, like it's booming loudly. The rain is coming down. So, if you hear like that loud, just loud noise behind me, that's what that is. This is my only time to film, so I'm gonna try to like be as loud as I possibly can. But I'm so sorry if like that is what you hear most. If it gets too bad, I will stop and then come back to this. But I'm just letting you know. That being said, today's case is a strange one. Um, a child may or may not still be alive, a missing child, and I'm going to tell you about it. I actually heard this case for the first time from the channel Gabulosis. Gabby does so many like older cases. She's really good at what she does, and this one was just fascinating to me, and I wanted to tell you guys about it. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this. The links that I use for research will be down below. We are talking about the case of Ramona Brown. So, Ramona Lynn Brown was last seen in New Orleans, Louisiana on March 6th, 1984. She was 3 at the time. Her family's home would go up in flames and she would go missing. So, at 3 a.m., there was a fire at her residence in the 2600 block of Memorial Park Drive in the neighborhood of Algiers, where she lived with her parents and 9 siblings. The fire killed her 2 youngest brothers, 4-year-old Kevin and 2-year-old Aubrey Jr., and their badly burned remains were found in what was left of the home after the fire was finally extinguished. Kevin and Aubrey Jr. had been asleep on the sofa in the living room when the fire started, while Ramona had been asleep in one of the bedrooms alone. So the Brown family heard the boys screaming for help, but they were unable to rescue them. They did not hear Ramona at any point. Ramona's 6-year-old sister, Simona, would later say that she and Ramona both escaped the home, and while they were walking away from it, a vehicle driven by an unidentified man and woman stopped and asked the girls if they needed help. Ramona got into the car after the couple offered to look after her. She was never seen again. And this is a quote from Tiffany, another one of her sisters. And Tiffany says, I remember Simona telling my mom and dad that there was a biracial couple that stopped and picked up Ramona. After that, Simona went into a shell. She wouldn't talk for a few years. End quote. A third, a third set of remains was located in the ruins of the home, and it was assumed that these were Ramona's. Obviously, like this is your missing child. There's a third set of remains. You think it's hers. And the remains were sent to the coroner's office with the boys' bodies. However, the third body was an animal, so it wasn't even a human at all. And once they realized this, police went back to the site to look for Ramona. They searched for days at the site of the fire and the neighborhood itself, but they never found her. Her family also searched for her themselves, but they never found any sign of her. In spite of this, she wasn't listed as a kidnapping or potential homicide victim at the time. Police assumed she had died like her brothers and that they hadn't been able to locate her due to the extensive destruction that the fire caused. And it wasn't until 2018 when Simona filed a missing persons report that an investigation began into her disappearance. So this happened in 1984, and it wasn't until 2018, decades later, that people, cops, finally decided, let's look into her disappearance. Like, this is a little weird. Where could she be? I can't believe like no other family member decided to do this beforehand. Like, if it was me, yes, there was a chance like my child could have inhaled a lot of smoke, got away from the house, and died somewhere else, or is in the ruins of this house, but we don't know for sure. Like, look for my child. I just can't believe that didn't happen at any point. I can't believe it took Simona doing it all these decades later for something to finally happen. So Simona is the only family member who recalled seeing her after the fire. She described the couple who took Ramona as, quote, an old black man and an old white lady, and said the car was, quote, a bronze-looking old Cadillac, end quote. She told her mom about them the day after the fire, but did not tell cops at the time. A few days after the fire, Ramona's grandmother got a strange phone call from someone who identified themselves as Al, which was Ramona's family's nickname. I assume it's the nickname for Ramona. Um, I'm not quite sure. The grandma asked Al where she was at, but the line went dead. Ramona's grandma believed that it was Ramona on that phone. Police were not able to rule out arson, but believed a malfunctioning gas heater was to blame. But the family said that the gas heater was in the bathroom, 2 doors down from the bedroom where the fire started. While it's possible she died in the fire, arson investigators think it's unlikely that her remains could have been completely consumed because the fire was brought under control in 30 to 40 minutes. And this is a quote from Detective Lamar Lewis at the New Orleans, Louisiana Police Department. And he says, I spoke with fire investigators and they said the fire would need to reach thousands of degrees in order to burn everything, meaning bones. Firefighters on the scene said they don't think she was in the house, and I didn't think she was in the house. End quote. So Kevin and Aubrey's bones, they were found. So obviously the fire was not hot enough to completely consume and burn away bones, which means that if Ramona had been in that house, her bones would be there. They would have been able to find it. One part of the house was not burning hotter than the other. That's not possible. So she was not in the house. She did get out. But did she really get into the car with this couple and she go away and somewhere happened? What happened in the aftermath? That is the question. Like, where is she now? The Brown family rebuilt the burned house and remained living there after Ramona vanished in hopes that she may return home. Her case is considered a um, possible non-family abduction, and it is unsolved. I have a description of her at the time. She would be 43 now, and there are age progressed photos available, which I will have on the screen. She had black hair and brown eyes. Anybody with any information regarding her case is urged to contact the New Orleans, Louisiana Police Department at 504-821-2222. Again, their phone number is 504-821-2222. And that is all I have for you on Ramona Brown. What do you guys think? I think it's very obvious. She did not die in that fire. She did not die in that house. Whether or not she escaped and could have later died on the off chance that she got away from the couple or whatever, possibly. But from the way Simona is telling it, she just stopped talking. Like, she told them what happened that night, and then she just, like, she stopped being herself. She stopped talking. I don't think she made it up. I think she probably really does blame herself. Like, this couple, a mysterious couple, shows up. They offer to take your sister, and you let her go, and you never see her again. I'm sure she blamed herself for a really long time and might still blame herself. And I don't think she made it up. I'm just saying, like, to give, like, another perspective, like, what if maybe she thought this is what happened. Like, she was a child at the time, a 6-year-old child. Who's to say, like, she didn't, like, in a way make that up in her own mind. I believe her, though. I'm just saying, like, because in a way it never felt like the cops really believed. Like, the way that they never bothered to investigate, it just kind of feels weird. And I'm not saying, like, because I know she didn't tell the cops, but I'm saying, like, this child's body was not in the fire. The way they kind of, like, searched a little bit and then they just stopped, it kind of felt like they had no interest. But with that being said, I think there is a chance, like, this couple took her and maybe they kept her as their own to raise her, maybe. Or maybe they just held her hostage or something, and maybe that's why she's never been seen again. I think that the person who might have called after the fire might have been her trying to find her way back to her family. So I definitely think she was still alive in the aftermath. If she's still alive today, I hope so. I hope that she's able to find her way back to her family, um, and they can get closure on this. This case is just so fascinating and so confusing to me. Like, I think it's so obvious that she was not killed in this fire, and we just have no answers. But I hope that this family can get the answers that they're looking for. I hope Simona can be at peace because I know she has to blame herself to a certain degree, and I hope she doesn't anymore. You were a child, um, and I hope that Ramona can be found in some way. With that being said, thank you so much for listening to Ramona's story. I will see you guys very, very soon. Bye, guys.